Seeing the Sonos Ray introduction really had my attention because of the pricing. Sonos is known for a lot of things. Affordability really isn't one of them. And this is where this video comes into play. As you dig a bit deeper, you'll quickly notice that there are quite a few trade-offs when it comes to the Sonos Ray and bringing it into your home or your space. I mean, Sonos manufactures a beefy subwoofer and a monster soundbar that will ping your pocketbooks to the tune of like $750 and $900 respectively. The Sonos Ray, however, it's $280 at the time of this video, and sometimes you can get it on sale. So that begs the question, where does the Sonos Ray fit into this lineup and who are they trying to target? I think Sonos is looking to get people that are looking to supplement maybe a game room, improve their bedroom TV, or like myself, use the Ray in a home gym space. The Ray, I think, is also pointed at those that have never purchased a Sonos product before. Before the Ray was brought into the picture, the cost of admission into the Sonos ecosystem was around $450. And now Sonos has opened the door to an affordable soundbar and have even paved the way to those affordable surround sound systems by giving users the ability to use the Ray paired with a One SL or their new Sub Mini, I think it is. If you're gonna go that route, it'll run you around $680. And that's pretty freaking awesome if I do say so myself. While there are some concessions with the Ray at this price point, it's still a fully functional soundbar that fits in as a supplement to a smaller space like a bedroom, or like what I'm using it in my home gym, or even an introductory device to the Sonos ecosystem. There's a lot to like with the Ray. It's 22 inches long, nearly 3 inches tall, and is almost 4 inches in depth. So it's a pretty, substantial device, but also doesn't look super bulky in its space. The body is plastic and it has that grill aesthetic to it like most of the Sonos products, and it has touch controls on the top of it. One clear omission is the microphone button because the Ray doesn't offer any type of voice control or smart assistant. That's kind of a bummer, but I mean, at $280, what more can you ask for? On to one major element of contention with the Ray, it's connectivity. Because it doesn't offer HDMI connectivity, and since it doesn't come with a remote control, you'll need to use your TV remote or some sort of IR remote, which is really easy to pair with the Ray if your remote has IR capability. Alternatively, you can just adjust the volume using the Sonos app. With the app, you can manage and operate your music as well. Last in line of that operation is to use the touch controls on top of the Ray, which is my preferred method because of where I have it placed in my home gym. So with that, controlling the Ray is probably the main issue I have with it. Since it doesn't have HDMI, I can see this thing not being a great fit for some people that are planning on using it in a living space or bedroom. IR volume adjustments on the Ray are problematic at best and are a pain in the butt. The Ray is still great for where I have it because it offers compatibility with dozens of streaming services as well as connection through Apple AirPlay 2. Leaving room for Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, and more. So moving on, let's talk about what matters with the soundbar. The sound, right? This is where it gets difficult to communicate to you the actual performance of the Ray through a YouTube video, so I'm just gonna tell you about it and then throw in some arbitrary sound tests after this, which won't do the soundbar any justice because YouTube's compression and the way it was recorded. I'll use the Ambio system from Sennheiser, so I'll try to capture how it sounds to me with my ears. So when we get to that point, please put on your headphones if you want a better idea of how this thing sounds. The Ray falls pretty flat in the low ends, so bass is going to not sound the best on this thing. It leaves a lot to be desired in the low ends of anything, so if you're listening to music, you'll notice if you have other sound bars in your home that are of higher value. It does really well in the mids and the highs, but when it comes to the low end, it just doesn't do it for me. I mean, you could pair it with one of Sonos' subs if that's of interest to you, because it does so well with the mids and the highs that I think a sub is necessary if you're going to use this in a theater space. And that limited low end is totally great for my intended use because I don't want to bother anyone else in the house when I'm working out. That thumpy bass is just not something I need in the space that I'm using that. Additionally, I will say the Ray is great if you want better sound than what your TV can offer. And I think this thing offers a good amount of soundstage that is way better than the majority of TV or internal TV speakers have to offer. The Ray also fits well in spaces like if you live in an apartment where you don't want to bother your neighbors, or like a townhome or something like that, or you want to use this thing in a bedroom, or in my case in a home gym where people are still sleeping and you still want to have a decent listening experience. This thing really fits in swell. And again, I will say the Ray is absolutely perfect for my home gym use. Management of the Ray will allow it to fit in to the Sonos multi-room system, and Sonos is probably one of the industry leaders when it comes to taking wireless control over your Sonos devices and having them placed throughout the house. It's an easy way to have multi-room sound and kind of fill your house with that ambience of music capability without having to hardwire anything. Is it better than that? No, but it's a solution for those of you that don't want to go through the whole pain of hardwiring a whole surround sound system. It also opens the door to having the Sonos system in multiple rooms that you can easily control and use. So the usage is great in my instance, but it may not be for you. The major thing the Ray lacks is Atmos, and that's because it only has an optical connection. In my opinion, it is a big miss on Sonos's part because unlike most soundbars made today, there are some cheaper options out there that use HDMI. Most TVs today include an optical port, so that's not the problem. For me, it boils down to controlling the Ray's volume. Not having ARC or eARC support or audio return channel is where I think the Ray really falls short. Never really knowing how loud the soundbar is where I would tell you to consider a different option. Everything else about the Ray is pretty great. You know, having a slot on HomeKit that shows AirPlay availability to my gym. It has way better sound than the TV that it's connected to, and it's able to provide pretty full sound in that space. And the price makes it a winner for me in my use case. So if you're good with those limitations like I am, I wholeheartedly recommend the Ray to you. You'll absolutely love it. However, having the Sonos Beam Gen 2 in my bedroom gives me a pretty good baseline comparison between the two. Let's just say the Beam Gen 2 is the clear and utmost winner between the two. Sound, connectivity, fit, build, aesthetic are all significantly better on the Beam Gen 2. In my opinion, it's definitely worth the extra $170. Maybe I'll do a comparison between the Beam Gen 2 and the Ray at some point. I will look to you to kind of give me feedback on that. If it's something you'd like to see or, like for me to do, let me know with a comment down below. So in conclusion, the Ray is good for me in my use case, but I would highly consider upgrading to the Beam Gen 2 if I were gonna use it in a space like a theater, a living room, a bedroom, because the Beam Gen 2 has all of the features that the Ray has plus more. And I'm never guessing what the volume is on the Beam Gen 2. It's just, that is such a big pain in my butt. It's so much so that I think I've said it maybe 15 times in this video that I want you to be aware of, because that is potentially the issue that you will encounter, especially if you have this thing wall mounted in a theater space or a bedroom space where you can't really, get the IR to recognize. IR connectivity in and of itself is a big pain in the butt because it doesn't connect all of the time. And I think trying to adjust the volume via an IR remote, if it doesn't work, it's probably one of the things that bothers me the most or will frustrate me the quickest. Sitting there trying to figure out what that IR is, it's a really big pain in my butt. Because of where it's placed in my gym space, it's not that big of a deal because I can just touch the touch controls on the Sonos Ray. Just consider those two things if it's something that you're, evaluating for a soundbar in your space. Before I close, I have nothing to disclose. I bought this thing with my own hard-earned cash and I got a deal on it. And then sometimes there's deals out there that I'll link in the description. One thing that I need to disclosure with you on that is that those are my affiliate links. So if you purchase through that, it helps support content creation here on this channel and it allows me to continue to provide you this type of content. And it helps me out quite a bit without costing you anything in addition. Well, that about does it for me in this one. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I am Tomas and I will catch you in the next one.